If you're an English major, you might think that you are destined to be unemployed or underemployed. That is not true. Today, we're gonna go over 10 things you can do as an English major to be successful after you graduate. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Ann, the friend of all the good YA book racks, literary lifestyle tips, and freelance writer tips. I did a video about a year ago now talking about my experience getting an English major. It is one of the most watched videos on my channel, and I just think it really helped people. So I wanted to come back a year later and give some tips of more things that I think English majors should do, or kind of a video to summarize how to be successful as an English major. For a little bit of background about who I am, I graduated in 2021 with a degree in professional writing and linguistics, which was like an English major at my school. I did a bunch of research when I was in school. I had a couple of different jobs and internships, and then I also started up a freelance business. Right after school, I took a job as a full-time writer, but it just did not work out. So I actually ended up ramping up my business until it matched my salary, and then I went full-time in that business. Today, I have a super amazing business that I'm in love with, and I get to work with super amazing clients on a lot of writing projects. And I don't know if I would go as far to say I use my English degree every day, because I'm not reading like classical literature or like doing creative writing for what I do for a living, but it definitely does kind of draw inspiration from what I learned during my English major, if that makes sense. So often in society, we're told that if you get an English major, you're setting yourselves up for unemployment, for poverty, for having to just go to grad school, be a teacher, or be a writer, like a novelist, and there's nothing else you can do. And that's just definitely not true. I have had no issues in my career so far because I was an English major, and tons of my friends who are English majors also are either gainfully employed or they're running businesses. So it is definitely possible. However, I think that there are probably some skills and experiences that you can do when you're an English major that are going to set you up for success down the road. First thing that I think is really key for English majors, and some people are definitely going to either disagree with this, which is fine, like this is just from my own personal experience, or they might just not want to go this route, but I really don't think it's a great idea to have your mind set on being a published author when you graduate, or even working in the publishing industry. Not saying that you shouldn't go for those goals. I'm currently going for like the published author goal, and I have a lot of friends who are going for the trying to work in publishing goal, but both of those goals are very difficult. In order to be successful in life and in something that's a more competitive field such as writing and English, you want to make sure that you have kind of your safe goals and your reach goals. So something like being an author would be a reach goal. I still do things every single day that drive me closer to that goal, but I'm not banking on that goal paying my rent or buying my groceries. And so having those more attainable goals as well can really help you when you're working towards those bigger, loftier goals. So what this might look like for you is if, for example, you want to work in publishing, maybe all you can get after you graduate is an internship, so you take a second job working somewhere else, or you do freelance work on the side in a more lucrative niche. Or it could look more similar to what I'm doing, which is running a business that I love and then writing my novels on the side. Again, just those big, lofty goals and the big idea of what an English major can do. I just think you need to expand your horizons of what you can do with an English major, because there really is a lot, and it's great to have those big goals, but there's a lot of other things you can do to make money while you're working towards those big goals. My next goal goes for if you want to be an author, or if you want to do something else with your English degree. It kind of goes for anything. I can't think of a single field that an English major would want to go into where this wouldn't be a good idea. Perhaps you wouldn't need this for teaching, but learn digital marketing. There's a couple of skills in particular which I'll go into, but I think having a good digital marketing basis is going to be really great. And one of the ways I would recommend doing this is really transforming what you think marketing is. I've noticed so many people with English degrees or creatives in general tend to think of marketing as like this evil business-like thing, you know, it's Mad Men in suits. But it really isn't that at all. It's actually a super creative and fun process. You get to do a lot of writing, a lot of like graphic design and marketing, and you have to be creative in order to be good at it. So really change your mindset when you think about what marketing is, because a lot of the jobs are going to be in marketing for English majors because, again, it's kind of like the creative storytelling part of business. The next 3 skills are things that I personally learned that just really helped me as an English major. They probably won't be offered in your programs. These things were like slightly touched upon in my program, like mentioned, but we didn't really go into depth on any of these things. I'm gonna say what the skills are and how I learned them because I learned all these skills for free using the internet. So the first skill is SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's figuring out how you can make your writing, whether it's like blog writing or website copywriting or even social media copy, stand out in search engine results. For example, let's say you work in marketing for a hospital and you want that hospital to come up first when someone types in hospitals near in your city. There's different things you can do behind the scenes to make that come up faster and kind of appease the Google gods, if you will. And that is what SEO is. It's a very complementary skill. If you can be a good writer and be good at SEO, you're just going to be able to go further. It's going to be something you can talk about in interviews. It can be something you can learn through internships. I personally first learned about the idea of SEO at one of my marketing internships when I was in college. I thought it was super interesting and I learned a little bit on that internship, but most of my SEO knowledge comes from taking LinkedIn Learning courses. If you have either a public library card or you're a university student, at least in the US, I don't know if this would apply internationally, but if you have either of those requirements and you're in the US, you 100% have access to LinkedIn Learning. If you don't live in the US, still try it because those things might work. But LinkedIn Learning is awesome because it's a platform that just has tons of free video courses that you can take. That's really how I learned SEO. The second skill set is social media marketing. This is good, one, because there's a lot of jobs in social media, and two, because if you want to be an author, particularly, you need to be able to have a following, and it's going to be the easiest to build that following on social media. I don't necessarily think you need to learn all of them. I think it's good to be familiar with each platform and who's on there and what sort of content is on there, but you can choose like 1 or 2 to really hone your skills at. For this, I personally created a whole brand where I was creating content online, and that's really how I learned. For social media, I really do think it's best. You can read up on things, but everything sounds super easy when you read up on social media, and it really isn't that easy. So just take anything you learn online with like a grain of salt and try it out yourself. Start a TikTok or an Instagram or a Twitter, whatever it is, about something that you are passionate about. The third skill is email marketing. I learned email marketing again through having my own email newsletter, which you can subscribe to down below. It's called Dear Reader. It's all about books and writing, and it's great. But I also learned about it through taking LinkedIn Learning courses. So again, this is another thing that I learned for free. There's a lot of writing involved in email marketing and actually writing the emails and the opt-ins. So opt-ins is like a freebie that someone gets in exchange for signing on to an email list. And in my opinion, it's actually one of my favorite areas of digital marketing. The next skill that I think is super awesome for English majors to learn is research. No matter what you go into, there's probably going to be some research involved in whatever your job is. This can range from learning like what a good primary source is to how to run usability tests or focus groups. Anything like that, I think is just super valuable knowledge to have. And you might actually be able to get extra funding and scholarships if you do research depending on your university. Learning how to do research in the field of English is just going to be really great and give you a lot of foundational knowledge that you can use professionally and honestly, for novel writing or even in your personal life, like when it comes to like researching a date online or researching like a job application and like stalking the people on LinkedIn and learning about them, knowing how to do good research is just an underrated skill to have. The next skill that is super duper important for English majors in particular to have is being able to brand themselves. The main difference between like an English major or a marketing major, business major, is that business majors, it's really easy to see how they would fit into a workplace. They have a degree that really correlates to a lot of job titles. English majors don't have that. That means that you're going to have to spend more time convincing people why you are the right candidate. How I personally did this is, one, I researched how to optimize my LinkedIn profile for whatever my professional goals were and made my LinkedIn profile look as good as possible. 2, I created a website portfolio, and I then eventually just made a website and then said you could email me for the PDF version of my portfolio. And that's just because I do some ghostwriting work where I can like show it to clients, but I can't show it publicly. 3, I created this whole personal brand here of like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, which really just taught me how to speak about myself. Even practicing an elevator pitch for different audiences that you might be talking to professionally is a really great idea. And just learning how to articulate why your English major would make you a good candidate for a job or a freelancing opportunity or an internship. Similar to that, a skill that I wish I would have developed earlier and really didn't, but it is such a fundamental skill, and I actually think I'd be further along professionally if I had developed this skill earlier, is networking authentically. So when it comes to networking, you really want to be able to put yourself out there and just go and meet new people professionally, and you want to do it in a way that's authentic so it doesn't come across as really sleazy. For me, both as someone who gets like network requests, like requests to network, and sends out requests to network, the best way to do this is, 1, to just be honest. Like, don't try to like sugarcoat things or make it seem like, I don't know, like you're hiding something. But then also 2, like, don't ask for too much up front. If you like a company that someone works at and you want to reach out to them on LinkedIn, don't reach out to them and say, hey, like, do you have any internship opportunities? Like, that's just kind of a turnoff. But I think if you say like, hey, we both went to this university, I would love to get virtual coffee sometime and hear about your career path, you're really making it all about them and their story, and it's a lot less invasive than asking them to help you out in some way. The next tip number 9, is learning how to maintain a network. It's not enough to just reach out to people, you also have to keep reaching out to people and just keep them top of mind. A really great way to do this is I actually have a Notion board where I can write in someone's name the last time I contacted them, any notes about them, and then Notion will give me an alert if I haven't contacted someone in less than 3 months. So I have to contact everyone on my Notion network tracker at least once every 3 months. It makes it so if you have to ask for a favor down the line, it doesn't seem like it's coming out of the blue, like you have an established relationship with this person, and they're more likely to be able to recommend opportunities to you if they know you exist and remember that you exist. And finally, the last skill that I think it's really great for English majors to get good at is project management. This is learning how to organize your workflow so that it makes sense. You can get a lot of stuff done in a short amount of time. Because you're going to be working in like content or marketing, there's just a lot of content out there, you know, like we live in an age where content is being created so quickly, you know, you're constantly creating TikToks or tweets, writing blog posts, whatever it is. So you want to make sure that you have a system in place that works for you to manage all those different projects that you are working on. For me personally, I use a combination of Notion and Google Calendar. I time block in Google Calendar so I know when I'm going to be working on certain tasks. And then I also have a to-do list in Notion where I put the task I want to get done each day. And then I also have an area for like future task. I also have a Notion board for like all my clients so I can see what sort of projects I'm working on of each of my clients and what I need to be doing there. In general, I have a lot of Notion boards. If you want me to make a video where I kind of go over my Notion boards and how I organize my life, let me know. But again, being organized and staying on top of things is going to be so important for almost any job you could get with an English degree. That is it. Those are all my tips to be successful as an English major. It really comes down to knowing how to market yourself and get in front of the right people with your skill set. And of course, developing the actual skill set. Comment down below if you're an English major or if you have any advice for English majors or things that you think English majors should do to be successful.